Splitting in non-personality disordered people. Yes, you heard me right. Splitting is something that happens in people that don't have personality disorders. In fact, it happens in everyone. Let's talk first about what most people's view of what splitting is. In general, people think of splitting, and if they know about BPD, they'll think of BPD. Splitting in this instance will probably be thought of as where someone suddenly, out of the blue, takes the view that you're awful, and beforehand they were idealizing you, and now they're devaluing you, and it's an extreme. This is usually thought because they've experienced some kind of feelings of rejection, and so as a result, their emotional view of you or this person has shifted all the way to all bad. Now, just to say, people with BPD generally in this regard, in relationships, they go in rapid cycles usually of idealization and devaluation. That is splitting. Or rather, this happening is usually what people think splitting is. But actually, that's kind of incorrect. Splitting is a very early ego defense. In fact, it's the first ego defense. It's put forward by Melanie Klein in her theory of object relations as something that happens to the baby, something that they do. They organize all their good and bad experiences into all good and all bad. This is due to a desire for organization, to understand, I guess, to adapt, for the brain to adapt so that its needs can be met. I mean, that's kind of like an evolutionary drive. The baby isn't saying, oh, well, I think I'll put this here and I'll put that there. No, it doesn't work like that. It's very deep and it's very instinctual. So, splitting is something that is actually at the bedrock foundation of every single human being's psyche. Of course, when it comes to narcissists, they're stuck in this position, the paranoid schizoid position, where everything is very, very extreme. With borderlines, they're very close to it, they're not quite so immersed in it. They've got effective empathy usually, and they've got complex emotions. So they're perhaps on the borderline between the paranoid schizoid position and the depressive position. Anyway, how does this apply to non-personality disordered people? Okay, so let's think about a people pleaser. So, someone you definitely wouldn't think of as splitting on someone, but it does happen, but it's just different. So, let's say this people-pleasing person has an object in their psyche that's a representation of a father figure or a mother figure, a caregiver, and they have split feelings about them. They know that this person is harmful to them, but at the same time, they know that they love them and that they need them. Now, where they're being sort of a bit more all-goodish, not quite maybe, but somewhat, is where they're idealizing to some extent this person. Okay? That's to maintain the relationship. And the other side is where their shadow is, where they really feel about them, that actually they're angry with them. They have feelings that they don't want to feel. So what happens is when this people-pleasery person starts to notice their frustration because their needs aren't being met and they're being hurt by this person and they're thinking about it, they turn away from all that and they start to idealize this object and think of the qualities that they have that actually are good, rather than face their own anger. It's like they feel that if they express their own anger, that this person will abandon them. Their childhood meant that it was not safe for them to express anger or to express anything authentic that this person didn't approve of. The bad objects, the bad experiences recorded in the psyche based on this person are in there. They're on that one side, that all bad side. But with this person, there are grades of nuance in their emotions. And there's empathy. And so in a way that gets kind of hijacked, and they will devalue their own emotions so that they can maintain the attachment with this person. See? They'll probably try to convince themselves that this person is a lovely person, really, and that they're well-meaning, that they've got a good heart, even though they're really hurting them. Now, of course, I'm saying this for survivors of narcissistic abuse, because that word splitting, when it has the connotations it does with personality disorders such as BPD and NPD, because they both do it, extremely, well, it can be very frightening. And it shouldn't be, okay? It's actually a normal thing that happens in everybody. In fact, think about your situation. Most people with a very strong trauma bond have a split version of the narcissist. This wonderful person, all good, and this awful person that hurt them, all bad. But the confusion and pain is in the middle, where the complex emotions are, where our empathy is, drawing us here once again, then our anger drawing us back. A large part of this healing journey is about helping this dial to regulate better once again, to see the grades of nuance, and to learn exactly who you are and exactly who they are. In a way, we lose a lot of access to the nuance of our complex emotions due to all of the abuse, due to the qualities that we felt we had to stifle in order to please this person. The organization of our psyche at this point mirrors the organization of their psyche. It's like they've drawn us into their world. Without full access to these complex emotions and ability to regulate, who are we? Because if you think about NPD, they don't have those complex emotions. They don't really have a self. That's why we feel we've lost ours.